Hey everyone, welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking some absolute gold, the timeless, truly life-changing principles from David Schwartz's masterwork, The Magic of Thinking Big. You know, if you've ever felt like, hey, I'm capable of way more than this, but something just keeps holding you back, well, you are in exactly the right place. We're going to set the stage for completely shattering those self-imposed limits and totally rewiring how you look at your own potential. So let's just jump right in with a question that gets straight to the heart of the whole thing. What actually separates the people who achieve these massive, wild dreams from the ones who don't? Just think about that for a second. We usually assume, right, that it's this huge gap in natural talent or maybe just hitting the jackpot with incredible luck. But the source material reveals something way more fascinating. The answer? It's just one word: belief. It isn't luck. It's not some innate born-with-it genius. It's simply the quiet, insanely powerful belief that you are absolutely capable of doing great things. Look, the truth is, we don't actually act based on what's objectively possible out there in the world. Nope, we act entirely on what we believe is possible for us. If you're thinking small, your actions are going to be small. But if you think big, you start taking these bold, massive actions that actually match that mindset.
Okay, Section 1, the power of belief. It all starts right there in your mind. You know, most people spend their whole lives stuck inside these invisible walls. And these aren't physical barriers. They're walls built completely out of their own limiting thoughts. And the crazy part? These walls are usually disguised by a phrase we hear all the time: be realistic. We are constantly told to just dream within reason. Think about someone who settles for that safe, kind of boring job instead of actually going for their dream role, just because it feels more realistic to aim low. But the text points out this brilliant little twist. What we usually call realistic is literally just a disguised word for limited. When you just accept those invisible walls, you completely stop reaching for the amazing opportunities sitting right on the other side of them. The good news? Knocking those walls down is surprisingly simple. It really all starts with this tiny micro shift in your vocabulary. Think about it. When you say, I can't do this, boom, you just put up a wall. Your brain literally shuts down and stops looking for an answer. But if you switch that to, how can I make this work? Wow. That one little tweak instantly rewires your brain. You transition straight from making excuses to actively hunting for solutions. It's a total game changer.
Moving on to Section 2, curing the excuse-itis disease. Time to defeat the blockers.
So David Schwartz playfully but honestly very firmly introduces this concept he calls excuse-itis. It's basically this mental disease where fear puts on a mask and disguises itself as pure logic. It is the absolute ultimate dream killer because it lets us off the hook before we even try. When excuse-itis grabs hold of you, your own doubts actually start sounding incredibly reasonable to you. And excuse-itis usually pops up in our daily lives in 4 main variants. First up, health excuse-itis. Man, I'd love to chase my goals, but my energy is just so low right now. Then there's age excuse-itis. I'm way too young for them to take me seriously. Or on the flip side, I'm way too old to start something completely new. Third is intelligence excuse-itis, basically telling yourself you just aren't smart enough for a certain path. And finally, luck excuse-itis, the classic belief that some people are just born lucky. And well, you weren't. Take a quick second here and hold a mirror up. Do any of these sound a little too familiar? Yeah, we've all been there. The secret to beating it is catching yourself right mid-excuse. Next time you hear one of those 4 variants pop into your head, just pause and ask yourself, wait, is this fact or is it fear? Honestly, most of the time, you're going to find out it's entirely fear just pretending to be logic. Once you pull the mask off it, you strip away its power and you can actually choose courage instead. All right, Section 3, action builds true confidence. It's time to take that first step. I absolutely love this punchy quote from the text. Action cures fear. It's so true, right? The longer you sit around waiting to do something that scares you, the stronger that fear actually gets. You literally cannot just sit there and wait for the fear to magically fade away on its own. The only way to get rid of it is to just put your head down and walk straight through it. Let's completely dismantle probably the biggest misconception out there about success. So many people think you have to wait until you feel super confident before you can take action. But reality? It's the exact opposite. You take action first, and then the confidence shows up. Confidence is exactly like a muscle, guys. It literally only gets stronger when you use it. Every single time you step into discomfort, your brain replaces all that uncertainty with hard, undeniable evidence that you are actually capable. So the main takeaway here is you got to start making deposits into your confidence bank. And look, you don't have to start by conquering the world tomorrow. Just take small, slightly uncomfortable steps. Afraid of public speaking? Just speak up one time in your very next meeting. Want to start a business? Just do a single piece of research today. Each of those little actions acts as a literal deposit that enriches your self-belief over time. The trick is, you just act before you feel ready.
Which brings us to section 4, big goals and bold leadership. Thinking big and leading bold. A massive hallmark of people who think big is that they think up, not down. When they're staring down some huge challenge, small thinkers tend to focus downward. They just say, well, it can't be done. But big thinkers, they shift their brains right into creative problem-solving mode just by asking, okay, how can it be done? The second you stop staring at the obstacles and start looking at the possibilities, your brain actually starts finding all these clever ways around limitations that you didn't even know existed. It's like flipping a switch. So let's look at how this builds into a highly actionable process for turning those massive, terrifying goals into a reality. First, see the end result. Picture it in vivid, emotional detail. Then, map out the steps backward from that final destination. And finally, just execute and work the plan. When your mind knows exactly what the destination looks like, it subconsciously just starts hunting for the best routes to actually get you there. But hey, we have to remember, success is never a solo journey. The true big thinkers actually expand their own success by lifting other people up through bold leadership. They encourage and they actually listen. They express genuine appreciation because they know that just a few kind words can completely transform a team's motivation. They collaborate instead of competing out of some hidden insecurity, and they consistently speak positively about others. Look, when you help people rise, you rise right along with them. It's a win-win. Finally, Section 5, Daily Habits for Success, Building Systems That Last. Look, motivation fades, right? We all know that. So we need simple, profoundly effective routines to keep our growth on track day in and day out. In the morning, before you grab your phone and start doom scrolling through negativity, just take a couple of minutes to visualize your goals and ask yourself, what is good about today? This literally trains your brain to look for possibilities right out of the gate. Then in the evening, do a quick gratitude check-in and ask, what can I improve tomorrow? This just ensures you are constantly taking steady, deliberate steps forward, rewiring your brain for relentless optimism. So the ultimate takeaway from all this is simple. Excellence is a habit, not an event. Thinking big has to become a literal lifestyle. It should reflect in how you dress, how you speak, and how you approach your daily grind. Just carry yourself like the person you actually want to become, and watch how opportunities naturally start gravitating right towards you. We've covered the power of belief, curing excuse-itis, taking massive action, setting big goals, and building those rock-solid daily habits. So I want to leave you with one final provocative question to carry with you right now. What is possible if you think big today? Seriously, don't let fear or doubt shrink your dreams for even one more minute. Get out there, shatter those invisible walls, and start thinking big right now. Thanks so much for joining us for this explainer.